Hi everyone, it's Christina again. Technology is just not my friend. So hopefully the audio actually works on this version. I wanted to step on here and do a teaching on what it means to be steadfast in the storm, discerning the darkness, love that overcomes the world. Church, we are living in a time where darkness is no longer creeping in the corners, but it's out in the open. It's thick, it's heavy. You can feel it in the atmosphere. You can see it in the headlines. There's unrest, war, betrayal, confusion, and fear, and so much fear rising like the wind and the waves all around us. But hear me, God is not surprised by the storm. He's raising up a remnant, not just to survive the storm, but to overcome it. And if we want to overcome, we have to ask ourselves one thing. What do I truly believe? I had this dream that is the reason why I'm doing this teaching. It's not a long dream. So a couple of nights ago, I dreamed that it was dark. I heard a knock at the door, and then I felt fear, and I woke up. And immediately what came to my spirit was, darkness is knocking at the door. Why do you feel fear? What was I believing? Because real belief, the kind that endures, it's going to show up in our emotions, our thoughts, and our will. So if your belief doesn't shape how you think, how you speak, and how you respond, then it's not faith. Belief without alignment is powerless. Jesus slept in the storm for the sake of one. And I want to take us to Mark 4, because this is the story that resonated with me when I woke up from that dream. And so if you have your Bibles, I want you to go ahead and go there to Mark 4. In the same day, when the evening was come, he said to them, "Let us pass over to the other side." And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him, even as he was, in the ship, and there was also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him, and said unto him, "Master, carest thou not that we perish?" And he arose, he rebuked the wind, and he said unto the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" So he tells his disciples that we're going to go to the other side. And now you have to understand, on the other side of that sea wasn't a crowd. It wasn't a revival. It was one man, a man nobody wanted, a man full of demons, cried out amongst the tombs. Society had bound him up in chains and left him to rot. But Jesus crossed over the sea for him. He took his disciples with him. He didn't leave them at a beachside resort. They went with him. And what happens next? A storm hits. A real storm. Waves crashing, wind roaring, water's filling up the boat. And what is Jesus doing? He's asleep. Come on, you got to give it to the guy. Come on, somebody, asleep in the storm. Let's do it. He was in the stem, asleep on a cushion, Mark 4:38. Why? Because he wasn't afraid of the storm. He knew his assignment. He knew what was waiting on the other side. He knew the one was worth it. He didn't even need to calm the storm. But when the disciples freaked out, when they cried out in fear, he responded. First to the storm, and then to his disciples. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Mark 4:40. Church, that rebuke wasn't about the wind. It was about their fear. They didn't understand yet. Peace is not the absence of the storm. Peace is the presence of trust. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. That's 2 Timothy 1:7. Jesus doesn't mind if you speak to the storm. He doesn't mind if you sleep through it. but he does mind when we fear it. He doesn't mind if you speak to the storm. He doesn't mind if you sleep through it. But he does mind when we fear it. We need to be steadfast in trust, but trusting is not denial. Don't mistake peace for passivity. Jesus wasn't ignoring danger. He was resting in certainty. Like he was quiet and confident of the Father's will. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a steadfast spirit within me. That's Psalms 51:10. And a quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. So he was quiet and he was confident. He had a target. He had an aim. He knew there may be trouble, and he was sleeping. He was okay with it because he knew that he was going to make it to the other side. He knew he was going to make it to that man. He knew what was on the other side was destiny, and that nothing, not wind, not waves, not the cries of his disciples, not the legions of demons could stop him from reaching that man. So he slept. I mean, why not? A lying spirit in the testing of hearts. So you could say the wind, the waves, the boat filling up with water, it was all speaking to his disciples. What? They were going to die. They were going to get to the other side. They were going to make it. They didn't even know what they were doing. They were like, why are we even here? They said we're going to the other side, but maybe we should turn around. They were listening to a lying spirit. And even that spirit told them that Jesus doesn't care. Because that's what they said to him. Don't you care about us? I mean, he's willing to go to the other side for one man, bound up in chains, left for dead. But his disciples, they did not believe that they cared about him, who he was with. Doesn't make sense. Now listen, not every storm is external. Some storms come wrapped in false promises. So here we have a storm that's trying to prevent them from getting to the other side. Jesus is quiet and confident. His disciples, they're a little bit fearful. But in another story, in 1 Kings 22, there was a lying spirit that went out and convinced King Ahab and all of his prophets to go into battle. They said, you'll win. You've got this. You've got this. You go on into battle. You got this. But it was a setup. It was judgment. And Ahab ignored the one voice telling the truth, and he died in battle. The Lord was putting a lying spirit in the mouths of all of these prophets. 1 Kings 22:23. There was a war for discernment in this hour. So many voices, so many opinions. If he would have just listened to the one voice of the one prophet he knew wasn't telling him what he wanted to hear, but told him as soberly every time what the Lord was saying, if he would have listened to him. But even that prophet, when he was met with the king, said, yeah, go ahead. You got this. Go into war. And King Ahab had to ask him again, is that really what the Lord said? It's like, whoa, you're asking me what the Lord said? No, it's a trap. You're going to die. You shouldn't go. But you got this. It's just really kind of a funny story about King Ahab, because God's mercy was upon this man over and over and over and over again. I'm like, seriously? But yet King Ahab thought, you know what? I'm going to outsmart God. I'm going to dress up as someone else and disguise myself, go into battle, and no one's going to know that it's me. No one's going to know. He died at battle. There is a war for discernment in this hour. So many voices, so many opinions, even some pulpits that are stirred by emotion instead of truth. But the Lord isn't asking who's the loudest. He's asking, what spirit are you of? That's Luke 9:55. I tell you what, He wants mercy, not sacrifice. Jesus said it plainly. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. That's Matthew 9:13. In this current moment, I'm very glad that Trump says, I'm going to take 2 weeks. Yeah, we're just going to let it hang in the air. We're going to take a rest. We're going to go take a nap. I got a cushion. I got a pillow. We're just going to go take a nap on the boat. We're good. We'll come back to this later. I love that. I love that approach. Go take a nap. Go take a rest. There's no reason to push play. There's no reason to push any buttons. But I tell you what, in this current moment, there is this nation that's wounded, and then there are other nations around it that are circling for opportunity. But instead of covering, are we setting our sights? Instead of healing, are we sending ammunition? Instead of mercy, are we choosing rage? But what does the word say? Love covers a multitude of sins. That's 1 Peter 4:8. Whoever covers an offense seeks love. That's Proverbs 17:9. Listen, the remnant are not called to rage with the heathen. We are called to rise in mercy. In this hour, the Lord is testing our hearts. Do you prefer judgment over mercy? Are you more comfortable with violence than with patience? Are you fighting the world's battles with the world's weapons? Are you fighting the world's battles with the world's weapons? Because here's the question. Will a spirit of violence overcome the world, or will we as believers overcome the world through Christ? Overcoming the world through love and faith. Church, we overcome not by force, not by wrath, not by reaction, but by the Spirit of God, by faith, by hope, by love. We overcome not by force, not by wrath, not by reaction, but by the Spirit of God, by faith, by hope, by love. We do not overcome by force. We do not overcome by wrath. We do not overcome by reaction, but by the Spirit of the Lord, by faith, by hope, by love. John 16:33. In this world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. 1 John 5:4. Everyone born of God overcomes the world through faith. If you believe that Jesus is the Christ, that you're born of God, and you love Yeshua as your Father, you'll naturally love his children too. So who is it that truly overcomes the world? It's the person who really believes in Yeshua. 1 John 4:18. Perfect love casts out all fear. Romans 8:37. In all things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. 1 Corinthians 13. Love bears all things. Love never fails. John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down his life for his friends. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed. We don't need new tactics. We need transformed minds and hearts full of love. Let me tell you, there's a song called The Narrow Road by Rick Pino. And if there was ever a time that we were on a narrow road and we had a wide road to choose from versus the narrow road that leads to life that's hard to walk down, this is the moment. We have a choice to make as a nation and also globally. Are we going to choose the wide path of destruction? Or are we going to choose the narrow road, which is the way of Christ? I tell you what, we need to consider that as deep darkness covers the earth. Let us be real. It's getting dark. Isaiah 62 says, darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the peoples. Amos 5:20 says, the day of the Lord is darkness, not light. Joel 2, a day of clouds and thick darkness, but God never ends in darkness. Isaiah continues, but the Lord shall arise upon you, and his glory will be seen upon you. There is a call right now, not to panic, but to rise. Jesus is knocking. Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Songs 5:2. My beloved is knocking. Luke 12:36. Be ready, so when he comes and knocks, you open immediately. He's not just knocking at the doors of government. He's knocking at the door of your heart. Are you listening? This is our charge. This is my charge to the remnant. Let me say it plainly. You cannot fake faith in this hour. You cannot fake peace. You cannot quote your way into steadfastness. If you are ruled by fear, check your foundation. If you are easily provoked, check your source. If you prefer judgment over mercy, what spirit are you of? The Lord is testing hearts globally. Proverbs 17:14. Starting a fight, especially in today's global climate, is like blowing a hole in a dam. Good luck stopping the flood once it begins. Whether it's missiles flying in the Middle East or tanks rolling in Europe, the world doesn't need another open floodgate. Proverbs 17:14 talks about that when a strife starts, it's like water, and so once it gets out, it's hard to stop. It's like a dam being breached. We don't need to fight this the way the world fights it. We don't need to look at negotiations or nations the way the world looks at it. We can choose to sleep and rest confidently that the battle is the Lord's. Not every battle do we need to go and fight, but the one battle that we do need to choose to go over the sea for is for the people that are bound in captivity, that are bound in chains, that have been forgotten, that have been left, that have been abandoned, that all the rest have just cast off and said that it's a lost cause. Now those, we should go into the darkness. We should go into the wind. We should go into the waves, and we should go confidently. We should go confidently for the one lost soul. I tell you what, there are some nations that are bound in chains. And this is not the hour to come in judgment. This is the hour to go break those chains off of those people. So my prayer is that we don't cross the sea for a fight. We cross the sea to break chains. It's a world of difference. We can go like King Ahab down into a fight because there's a spirit that's telling us to go. I have to ask, what spirit are you listening to? Is it a lying spirit? Is it a spirit that's driving fear into this nation? Is it a fear spirit? Because that's not the spirit of the Lord. The Lord has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. So do not be driven by fear. Check your source. Check your foundation. Your emotions should line up with what you believe. If you're feeling fear in this hour, what do you really believe? Do you have faith? Do you have faith? Do you have faith? Why are you feeling fear? I felt fear in that dream, and it bothered me because I was like, why am I feeling fear? It's good to reflect. It's good to take a moment and make sure that you're not moving from a place of fear, but faith. But how can you move unless you truly do believe it? How can you move quietly and confidently? I don't have to speak to the raging storm if I don't want to. I can rest confidently that the Lord wants me to set the captives free. I can rest confidently in that. But if I'm going down into battle and the fight is not a fight that the Lord has called me to, then yes, I need to take a pause. I need to take a rest. I need to make sure that I'm listening to the right spirit. I'm not listening to fear, that I'm not listening to a trap. I'm not walking into a judgment, but I'm listening to the Spirit of the Lord. I'm being led by Him. I tell you what, we should definitely go set some captives free and check the spirit that you are of. Make sure you're not calling forth judgment, because God is all about mercy. So Lord, I pray that you would lead and guide your people into all truth, and they would be led by your Spirit. They would be led by the presence of the Lord. I pray that, Father, that you would deliver them of fear, and that faith would arise in this moment of God, that faith would arise in this nation, in the nations, Lord. I pray that faith would arise, drive fear out of us, and I do pray that those that are bound in chains would be set free. In your precious name we pray, in the name of Jesus. So I pray and I ask you to go read Mark 4 and really study what it means to be steadfast, quiet and confident. It doesn't matter what's raging all around you. That you wouldn't be like, oh, Jesus, or do you want me to perish? Of course he doesn't want you to perish. He's with you. He's in the boat. He doesn't want you to perish. You don't have to ask Jesus, do you want me to perish? No, he doesn't want you to perish. He's with you. Jesus is with you in the boat. He's not looking to do you harm. So it's not a question of where is Jesus? It's a question of where's your faith? Why are you so fearful? What are you believing? What are you listening to? Don't listen to a lying spirit. Listen to the Spirit of the Lord. The Spirit of the Lord will give you boldness and confidence and quietness of the soul, that when everything else is raging, that you're perfectly still, that you're perfectly quiet. And if you want to speak to the storm, then do it. If you don't want to speak to the storm, you want to go take a nap, do it. But rest assured, when you get to that seashore and you dock that boat, the next thing that you should do is you should go to those people that are in bondage and set them free, because that is the heart of the Lord, to set the captives free, to loose them from their bonds of iniquity, to loose them from their rage, their hatred. So we need to be asking ourselves, how in this moment in time do we loose the captives from their chains? And I'm telling you, there are people that are like, this is a lost cause. Just bomb them. That is not the answer. That is not the answer. We need to pray, and we need to ask the Lord to step in and intervene with all of their hearts, with the hardest of hearts to the softest of hearts, that he would change the tide, that he would change the tune, that he would loose those captives from their hatred and their hatred of one another. And then they won't turn, that the Lord deal with them, and give everyone else around them wisdom on how to deal with it. So my prayer is that we don't meddle in affairs that we should not meddle in, because it's bound to be like a dam breaking, and that we really wait upon the Lord, and we don't get caught up into something that was purposely set there as a trap, because it definitely feels like an entrapment. God bless you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely be praying and seeking the Lord. Do not fear, though. When darkness comes over the earth, do not fear. The Lord has not given you a spirit of fear, but love, power, and a sound mind. Do not fear. Have faith. And if you do fear, ask yourself, what are you believing? What are you listening to? Don't listen to a lying spirit. The Lord is for you. Who can be against you? God bless you.